Well, I'm not sure if everybody's heard just yet, but if you haven't, here's what happened. A man who in February of 2022 was, let's see, he was bailed out by the Texas Organizing Project, a very progressive, social justice nonprofit, bailed out of the Bexar County Jail in 2022 for 3 counts of misdemeanor family violence. Okay, so they bailed him out, and over time, what happens is, he gets crazier and crazier, I guess, and he doesn't change his ways. Lo and behold, look at that. And he killed 2 people in San Antonio earlier this week, drove up to North Austin, shot a AISD police officer, then drove to South Austin and killed, I think, what was the grand total? I think 4 people were killed. So it's a tragic situation, obviously. It's also kind of a wild situation. Why did he start in San Antonio? Why did he drive all the way up to North Austin? Why did he drive down to South Austin? A lot of people, including the very wise Vicky Goodwin, our state representative here, was upset that APD didn't put out an active shooter warning, right? Why didn't they do this? There was an active shooter. Why didn't you do it? Well, it wasn't exactly obvious from all of the facts present at the time that, a shooting in South Austin and a shooting in North Austin and a shooting in San Antonio, North Austin, South Austin, not really clear that all that's connected. But this organization, Texas Organizing Project, that bailed him out, somehow he met their criteria for low cash bail. The San Antonio or the Bexar County jails, Bexar County Sheriff, had a program set up back in February of 2022 where they would send this group and other organizations a list every week of low cost bails, right? Low cash bails. And they would just send them this list and people would bail them out, right? So they were really trying to move this along. And this group, Texas Organizing Project, was funded to the tune of several $1 million by, who do you think?
George Soros.
What? How did you know? Exactly. Very lucky guess. He's new to this game of funding, and that was just a lucky guess. They were funded to the tune of about $2.5 million by the Open Society Foundation. And my question is, what do we do about that? Is there something that we can do about it? Did I do that story justice, Michael? Did you follow it at all?
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't. I followed a little bit on Twitter. My understanding is he shot his parents in San Antonio, then drove up to AISD, shot but did not kill a AISD police officer. Then he killed one other person. That's what I understand, and shot two more. So the guy's obviously on some deranged. He's obviously deeply disturbed human being. And then, did you see the statement from the organizing project?
I did. I could pull it up, but yeah, I saw it, and that's kind of that's where I got the guy's name is Shane James. That's where I got the information that he met their criteria at the time. Through our justice program, we bailed out James in coordination with the Bexar County's Public Defender's Office nearly 2 years ago in February 2022 on misdemeanor charges where his bond fees totaled $300. Can't come up with $300.
And on that, his parents advocated for his release because the misdemeanors were assault on his parents, and they advocated for his release because it was a mental health issue. And had he been charged, served maximum sentences for those 3 misdemeanors, he would have been out of jail by now anyway. So I get that they stepped in and they do deserve blame, but he still would. I think it still would have happened. But even if Top didn't get involved.
Have you never heard of the butterfly effect?
I've seen the movie.
I've seen the movie.
So you're an Ashton Kutcher fan, I see. Okay, or maybe you're a Mila Kunis fan, and this is your way to get to Mila Kunis. No, I don't believe that if he had served a year in county jail for these misdemeanors, that this would have happened. I mean, I don't know, but it seems highly unlikely that if you change someone's life that dramatically, that instead of getting bailed out, they spend a year in county jail. I think things would have operated differently. I guess it could go the other way, and he could have killed more people. But at the end of the day, that's a difficult thing to say, I think.
I mean, I'd argue that the reason he shot people is because of the mental health issues, like more so than if someone's going to do that and they're going to assault their parents and all this other stuff, they're not necessarily concerned about jail. Like there's something else going on. It also says in August, the cops were called because he was naked in the front yard and behaving strangely. They went to the home, didn't arrest him because he barricaded himself in a bedroom. They limited their use of forced entry. So like he's had a lot of issues with mental health. I don't think that would have been fixed by a year in jail. Like, so I mean, who knows what would have happened, but I don't know that it wouldn't have happened had he served that year.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen, well, I guess, maybe there's some cases, I don't know, but I don't think it's typical for people to go to county jail for a year and come out more mentally stable, but maybe they would have seen, I don't know, maybe he would have gotten some, like they would have caught it. Like if you're sick in jail, they're responsible for you, right? Is he going to receive the best health care in county jail? No, but I think he's going to receive something, and maybe he'd get a diagnosis, and maybe they'd force him to take some medications, right?
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah, I'm only fair.
Here's my thing, and here's my take, and I'm just going to piss off everybody because I'm so tired of this partisan loop. It's not productive. It's like everybody's Monday morning quarterbacking it, say, oh, if we had not bonded him, he wouldn't have done this. Or if we just had stronger gun control, he would have, he wouldn't have shot any people. And there's just all these arguments on the left and the right, and they're pointing fingers and they're Monday morning quarterbacking it. And then we forget in 4 days. And we spend 4 days talking about a seriously deranged human being when there are actual victims here that have families, that have like people that are left behind. Why aren't news stories dedicated to those people? That's the real story here. It's not this sicko, which, look, guys, we don't know what happened to him to create him. Maybe he was serially raped by his parents when he was a baby. Like we have no context for why he's the way he is. But we spend days and days pointing fingers, talking about gun control, and then we forget. I would suggest that if the time was spent talking about the victims and their families and the devastation that was left behind by the lack of action on gun control or the lack of action on mental health, I'm not advocating those things. I'm just saying the lack of doing anything different, we'd actually focus some our attention in a good way. So I read some CNN report. They gave one line to the victims. One line.
Well, I mean, local news has covered the victims a little bit. CNN, Daily Mail. I don't know if they're going to, do that digging. But KVUE, local news station, ABC station, had an interview with the husband of the woman that was randomly shot and killed. She heroically she was walking her baby, heroically pushed the baby out of the way. She got shot. She died, I think, at the scene. A pretty heart-wrenching interview with the husband. I'm surprised that he turned around and did an interview that quickly. That is not to say that he shouldn't have. I mean, obviously, go for it. But you're absolutely right, Michael, that we don't know this guy's story. He could have been serial raped by his parents, and that is one reason why I'm an advocate for peaceful parenting, no spanking, all that stuff. Be kind to your children. Obviously, still be disciplined and set boundaries and everything, but that stuff does have real life implications. Not to say that if you spank your child, that you're going to become this person. But you also have to ask the question, well, I mean, other people have gone through that same similar tragedy in their early life, and they didn't do this.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't excuse anything, but we're getting to the bottom of what makes these people do these things.
Yeah, I'm certainly not justifying his actions. He's a sicko. Like,
and I don't know what. Hopefully, it didn't sound like I was saying that you were doing that.
Yeah, and we don't know what led him to this. I'm tired of the loop, where the left points at the right and the right points at the left, and then actually we don't do anything different. We just stay in the exact same place. But and also just admitting that I don't know if we have the power, to do anything about sickos running around shooting people. Like, I don't know that we have the power to do anything about that in the short term. There's probably something we can do about the frequency or the amount of times this happens, but that's a broader economic, psychological, cultural discussion that wouldn't be fixed overnight, which people don't want to have.
Peaceful parenting.
Peaceful parenting.
I think that's a great place to start. But this is not the first time that a progressive activist group has let someone out, bailed someone out, and they've gone out a repeat offender or whatever, or even a DA chose not to prosecute a repeat offender, and they go out and they commit more crime, sometimes more heinous. On these nonprofit side, I don't know. I don't know what there is. Is there even? Would it be wise to try to hold them accountable? Are they responsible? Right? You could say the DAs are responsible because that's their elected job. But of course, they're the government, so there's no ever any sort of personal recourse. Best thing you're going to do is, I don't know, vote them out. Woohoo! Some other loser comes in and does the same thing. Is there recourse? Should there be recourse towards these private organizations?
I think there should be. I mean, if you go to jail and I bail you out, I mean, you're released into my custody, and God forbid you go and like rob a supermarket 5 minutes later, like they're going to look at me because I bailed you out. And so I think there should be some sort of responsibility for these organizations that do the same. I don't know that there currently is. I don't know one way or the other whether there currently is. But there definitely should be something. I mean, if you're going to take ownership of that individual because you looked at their record and you looked at the situation of this case and you think that they warrant getting, this getting bailed out based on your, bond fund, well, then you should take responsibility for their actions when they're out.
Yeah.
Not forever. I mean, until
Forever.
the case is processed, but
forever. What's wrong with robbing a supermarket?
I mean,
that's all the rage nowadays.
With the price of groceries.
Have you seen the price of groceries? Thanksgiving just happened. You know how expensive things get.
Yeah, so I don't know how you eat so many eggs. I mean, with the cost of eggs today.
Oh my